What is up, my beautiful people? It is Adamo back on IFTV, and today I will be speaking to you guys about what I believe Juventus' next lineup will be in the upcoming Serie A season, being the reigning, defending Serie A Scudetto champions. Once again, will they be able to do it again next season? We will be talking about it in this video. Now, obviously, there's a lot of speculation over what Allegri will go with next season for Juventus' lineup because they lost the likes of Dani Alves and Bonucci. And there's a huge glaring issue in their midfield that they are going to need to patch up. And that is exactly what I'm going to be pinpointing. As I'm sure you all know, the club practically signed Patrick Schick from Sampdoria. I mean, we're pretty much best friends. We're pretty tight. I mean, he thinks I'm awesome. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. But the deal fell through because of the medical that he was taking. They found out he had a heart problem, which was something that has gone away now. And it looks like Schick will be going to Inter. But they expected that this heart problem would go away and that it wouldn't be a problem in the future. But maybe Juve weren't too sure in the deal. They didn't want to spend that kind of money on that sort of risk. Maybe it was Pavel Nedved pushing for the move, and Juve weren't really too interested in spending all that money on a player that they would be risking so much on should this heart problem reoccur in the future. But regardless, they made some amazing signings in the likes of Bernardeschi from Fiorentina and Douglas Costa from Bayern Munich, as well as some other names reinforcing the team. And let's not forget, they brought in the Milan legend, Mattia De Sciglio. So although the likes of Schick could have been a good option, maybe on the wing, mostly up top as a backup striker, they lost out on the deal, but it's fine. Now, as I said, there is a lot of possible formations that Juve could be going with, the likes of the 4-2-3-1 being the most likely out of them all. We've seen Juve go with that for the majority of last season, especially in the Champions League. They did a lot of damage to teams with the likes of Dybala playing in that middle pocket role behind Higuain with the two wingers out wide beside them. But now all of that will be changing personnel-wise as the team have brought in some great players, as I mentioned. Now, how I see them lining up, the most obvious position in this team is the goalkeeping position. Who other than Wojciech Szczesny would be taking that spot? Nah, I'm just like. Obviously, with Buffon in goal and Alexandro taking up the left back position, with Chiellini and Barzagli filling up the center back pairing, while Mattia De Sciglio, the legend himself, fills the right back slot, or possibly Lichtsteiner taking that role. Or Juve bring in another right back. I'm not too sure. I haven't seen too many links as of late. I know they were previously linked to the likes of Aurier from PSG and Cancelo from, I believe, Valencia. In midfield, you have the likes of Khedira and Pjanic, which, if you ask me, I don't think they should be going forward with. We saw the clear flaws, as I mentioned last season, with that hole in their midfield. I believe Pjanic leaves too much slack, and Khedira isn't good enough to pick it all up in a two-man midfield. But regardless, you have the likes of Douglas Costa playing out on the right-hand side, with Dybala in the middle, Mandzukic on the left, all playing off of Fazzolo Fatwain. Now, of course, you're probably thinking, where does the new signing of Bernardeschi fit? You have Douglas Costa on the right, Mandzukic on the left. You would probably think logically you would take out Mandzukic because he's not a natural left winger. But that being said, we all saw that Mandzukic was probably one of Juve's best players playing out wide because of his engine. But of course, he's getting older. He's getting to those older ages where he won't have enough stamina to keep up the entire season, which is where you see the likes of Bernardeschi coming in, a player that can play all throughout the top line, whether it be on the left, in the middle like Dybala, or on the right. In the future, I see Bernardeschi moving to the left or possibly the right, regardless, one or the other, and Douglas Costa switching because they're both versatile and can play on either flank, where you would see Mandzukic dropping down to the bench or possibly being sold. I have no idea, but that's what I think would happen. We all know Juve are infamous for their back three formation ever since Conte came to the club. Obviously with BBC, Bonucci, Barzagli, and Chiellini. But now that Bonucci is gone, it is less likely that they're going to be reverting to that formation. As we saw last season, it wasn't as primary as the 4-2-3-1, but they did still use it in certain games in the Serie A and some European games. So if they were to line up with that, this is what I think it would be. They could go with a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2, any variation of the two. I think it would be a 3-4-3 where they would start off with Buffon in goal, Dzeko, Barzagli at center back with Chiellini and Rugani. I'm sure a lot of you would put Benatia into that lineup, but I do think that Allegri is preferring Rugani at this point in time. I think he went through his phase, he got adapted to Juve, and now that he's ready to step up above the likes of Benatia in the pecking order, at least if they were to play a 3-back formation. On the left-hand side, you would have Alexandro playing the wing back with De Sciglio on the other end. Again, could be Lichtsteiner, could be another signing, I'm not too sure. In the middle, you could see the likes of Marchisio and Khedira, or possibly Pjanic taking the role of Marchisio. And up top, you would have Higuain, Dybala, and Mandzukic once again, although you are benching the likes of Douglas Costa and Bernardeschi and all the other great wingers that Juve have in their club. Just a little disclaimer in case Juve makes a movement in the transfer window. At the time of recording this video, they have not yet signed a midfielder, but I'm sure that they will be in the future. And if they do, I think it could be either Nzonzi, Matuidi, or somebody along those lines. I think it was a big mistake personally for Juve to let Tolisso go to Bayern Munich. I think they should have dished out the cash because I think he's a talent that they could definitely use in this team, much like a Vidal type player, maybe not as bullish, but definitely has that box-to-box ability, has a big stature to him. But regardless, they're probably going to end up with the likes of Nzonzi or Matuidi, as I said. I think Nzonzi just recently requested a transfer from Sevilla, which means that he will be leaving the club. At least he'll try to push his way out, which means Juve could potentially come to an agreement with Sevilla of a cheaper deal rather than what was negotiated in the past. But if that doesn't go through, they're going to obviously be looking towards the likes of Matuidi, who hopefully they could be able to pry from PSG. I think he's a great player. A lot of people don't rate him as highly as I think he is. I think he makes a couple mistakes in games and could have some work done to him, but he is a workhorse. This guy runs up and down the pitch like crazy, and I think that he could make up for the slack of Pjanic. And I think that Khedira is a bit too slow, but Matuidi makes up for it in pace, even though Khedira is a bit bigger of a guy. Regardless, Juve needs somebody in that midfield. You cannot go into the next Serie A season expecting to win the Scudetto and perform in Europe with that same squad, losing the likes of Dani Alves and Bonucci. I think you need to reinforce that midfield, even though they did well reinforcing the attack a ton with some incredible players. I have to give that to them. But if you don't fix the midfield, there's going to be a big problem. I don't think the likes of Verratti are going to be leaving PSG right now. Luckily, they have a lot of depth in the squad. It is not a problem for Juve. They just recently let go of the likes of Rincon, who's going to Torino. And I think that, Juve are really good at selling these players. They're selling the likes of Lemina to Southampton for a great fee, which is ridiculous to me. But where I think Juve went wrong is I would have sold Sturaro and kept Rincon. I think Rincon plays a lot better than Sturaro when he's given the chance, and I feel like he would have been a much better rotational player than Sturaro is. We saw in his early days at Juve and at Genoa that Sturaro was a great player. He was adding a lot to the team at Genoa, and I think at Juve he was quite a good substitute, but he started to die off a bit. He started to become a bidone type player that you don't necessarily want at your club, at least for Juve. I think if he moved on to a mid-table team, it'd be great for his career. He's still young. He's in his mid-20s. Maybe if they kept Rincon, it would have been better, but they still have a fantastic team. Of course, you have the likes of Piazza on the bench as well, who last season was unfortunately plagued by injuries, but nonetheless, he's still a fantastic player to be coming off the bench, incredibly young, and will be hungry to get his chance at Juve. Are Juve going to win the Scudetto once again? I mean, it's tough. You got the likes of Napoli, who have Sarri as their coach, which I think is the best coach in the league, maybe even one of the better coaches in Europe, not necessarily the best. And Napoli didn't lose any of their big players, whereas Juve lost the likes of Dani Alves and Bonucci. I'm going to be ballsy. I'm going to put Napoli ahead of Juve next season to win the Scudetto. I'm sure a lot of you Juve fans won't be happy to hear me say that. I'm sure Marco's probably crying in his bed right now watching this video, but I do think that Napoli will finally surpass the likes of Roma and Juve, who have had a lot of changes this season. I think that their consistency will be the reason that they win the league next season. But anything can happen. Juve could easily retain the title and win the Serie A once again. Well, there you have it, folks. That has been the video. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think Juve should be playing next season. What formation, what type of personnel should they be deploying? And who do you think will win the Scudetto? Are you agreeing with me and going with Sarri's Napoli? Or are you going to put Juve or maybe another team? Leave it all down below. As I said, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to IFTV for more great content. It has been Adamo, and as usual, peace out.